Hi, it's Life with Paige here, and I'm going to be playing some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Hang on, that didn't sound quite right. Hi, it's Life with Paige here, and I'm going to be playing some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, I've probably mentioned this before, it may have even been in a previous video. Although actually, this is the first time I've recorded any videos on this particular Mario Kart game, so probably not. But either way, I know I've mentioned this before, but why is this called Dry Desert when there's actually quite a bit of water in this course? I mean, surely just one dry is enough, considering that there is a substantial amount of water. So it's not exactly Dry Desert, it should just be called Dry Desert, at the very most. I mean, the fact that it's a desert sort of implies that it's going to be dry anyway, so in general it's a bit of a redundant name, especially considering the amount of water that is in this course. It's a good course, just not a very fitting name. And it definitely doesn't need the word dry twice. I mean, I guess it could have had a worse name, like a cheesy pun or something, but still, you know, doesn't exactly fit the theme, of course. Not that it's really important, just something I sort of noticed. Anyway, let's focus on the actual racing. What if I can make it? Okay, there we go. Just got through that pokey as I was standing over there. Alright, let's see if I can get it again. Nope! Ah, I just hit the spikes. I do quite like trying to drive through the sort of loop that the pokey is making. I mean, it's not necessary, but it's quite a fun little challenge to try and do when I'm going through this course. Definitely adds a little bit of something to it. I mean, it's quite a good course in general, but, you know, adding little challenges to things definitely makes them more fun overall. Even if it's as simple as trying to drive through all the loops that the pokies are making in Dry Desert. I almost said Dry Desert instead of Dry Desert. I guess that would be one that features dry bands. Now that really would be a bad name for a course. Especially if it was just this course, but with dry bands in it, and it was called Dry Desert. Although, then again, considering some of the Splatoon titles of the levels, I suspect that there's probably at least one or two Mario levels with names like that have really cheesy puns. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but there's got to be at least one or two. Let's see. Yeah, I can't really remember any of the names of the levels. Usually it's just very simple stuff. Like, I mean, I think this Acorn Plains is what comes to mind. I think... I'm not certain, but I think there's one that's called Rumble Volcano, obviously based off the Mario Kart course of the same name. Although maybe the level came first, then they did the Mario Kart course. Either way, I'm pretty sure there's a Mario level called Rumble Volcano. I think it's in New Super Mario Bros. Wii or New Super Mario Bros. U, one of those two. Those two sort of blend together in my brain, even though they are actually sort of different games. I guess because the art style is very similar, and they're both 2D modern platformer games in the Mario series, they sort of do tend to blend together in my brain, even though they are distinctly different. Yeah, that is kind of the thing with the 2D Mario games, and especially the modern 2D Mario games. I mean, I know a lot of people have mentioned this before, but they do all sort of blend together and seem very similar, especially when compared to the 3D Mario games, which all have their own unique identity and things that are memorable about them. I mean, all the Mario games that I've played so far have been pretty fun, but the 2D ones are definitely a lot less unique than the 3D ones. It's kind of what I'm saying. There's definitely a lot more defining features in each of the 3D ones that makes them memorable in comparison to the 2D ones, where there's like one or two levels that you remember, and then the rest of it's sort of more of the same, I guess. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I mean, the 2D Mario games are the same for a reason. The gameplay works and it's a lot of fun, but they do sort of blend together in my brain sometimes. But even the old ones and the new ones, I tend to sort of confuse the various different games sometimes. I'm like, wait, this happened in this game or this game? I don't know. But of course there are still certain levels that I remember from certain games, even amongst all the 2D ones, which are very similar. Just less memorable things in those compared to the 3D ones. Or even in comparison to some of the spin-offs like Mario Party and Mario Kart. There's still, I'd say, more defining features from each Mario Kart than each 2D Mario. And as I said, that's not a bad thing, it's just they do tend to blend together sometimes. Unless I really think about it, I'm like, okay, this level's from this game, this level's from this game had this feature, this one had this power-up. You know, there are definitely things to define them, but not as much as with the 3D games, or even the Mario Kart games. There's definitely a lot more overlap with the 2D Mario games. I think I'm almost at the end. So as long as I don't get hit by a blue shell or anything really deadly, I guess I should probably win this. Just throw out the green shell, hopefully I'll hit a CPU. Although I'm in first place, so it'll be more likely to hit me than anyone else. But since I had it, I might as well throw it out there. And I've got first place anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I sort of feel like this one could have easily just been titled Mario Circuit 2, and yeah, no one would have really noticed. Because it is essentially just another Mario Circuit. I mean, I guess maybe with slightly more peach-based colours, which is why I guess it's called Royal Raceway. Plus you do go past Peach's castle, so I guess it's kind of got that going for it. But overall I'd say this one is essentially a Mario Circuit with Peach-themed elements. Pretty much. And I have to say, I much prefer Peach Garden, because whilst that's not exactly the most unique of Mario Kart courses, it's definitely a lot more unique than this is, and a lot less similar to either of the two Mario circuits. And plus, with that one, you're sort of going around Peach's castle, or I guess the garden is surrounding Peach's castle. Whereas with this, you just pass by it, I think, once or twice. Well, once every lap, I guess. So 3 times in total. And then the rest is just basic race course sort of thing. Which isn't bad, as I said, I think, in the previous video, or one of the other videos that I recorded during this recording session, but still, you know, this is essentially just a Peach-themed Mario circuit. So, you know, there's a lot more pink and stuff, but it's essentially just a racetrack. And I mean, it's even using the same music as the Mario Circuit and Mario Kart Wii, so I think even the developers probably realised that this was essentially just Peach's Mario Circuit, pretty much. I mean, it's not explicitly stated as a Peach course, but with the title Royal Raceway, all the pink, and the fact that you go past Peach's castle, this is very much essentially a Peach course. Even if it's not stated as such. That's kind of the character that it's linked to the most, I would say. Well, I guess it's kind of linked to both Daisy and Peach. Sort of track for both of them. But also, as I said, very reminiscent of the 2 Mario circuits in this game. And it's also got the music from Mario Circuit and Mario Kart Wii. So yeah, sort of a track for Peach and Daisy, but also a Mario Circuit. It's kind of a combination of things, I guess. I do quite like the cherry blossom trees that looks fine. And also this section where you're going up the ramp and there's these archways of foliage with the bells. That's kind of nice. Like, I do quite like the sound of the bells combined with the music in the background. And plus the aesthetic of the foliage archways is kind of nice as well. Yeah, this is quite a nice aesthetic for a race course. Maybe a bit too much pink for me personally, but I do like the cherry blossom trees and the archways and foliage actually going up the ramp, as I said earlier, do look quite nice as well. Maybe a little bit of a generic one, but it's got a good aesthetic to it, and it's got a somewhat decent layout, so sort of in the middle, I would say, with this one. Alright, here we go with the final race of the Banana Cup. And, of course, the most fitting thing to have for a Banana Cup is DK's Jungle, so here we go. This is probably either my second or third favourite course in this entire game, because I really like the music for this one. It's got just really high energy music. That of course is also featured in Donkey Kong Country games, or at the very least the more recent ones, like Returns and I'm assuming Tropical Freeze, although I haven't played that one, because I still haven't finished Returns yet. I should finish that at some point, I just haven't got around to it. Mainly because it's actually surprisingly difficult. Like, I thought it was just going to be basically Mario, but with Donkey Kong. But no, actually, it's a lot more difficult than the Mario games. It's like the Mario games, if they weren't easy, essentially. Maybe not as fun as the Mario games, though, so it's harder, but also not quite as enjoyable, and perhaps doesn't flow together quite as well. But still, I do want to finish it at some point, because well, I mean, it does have some really nice music to it, and aesthetically, just like the race course that I'm going on, which is based off the Donkey Kong Country Returns game, it does look very nice. I really like the jungle aesthetic, all the bright plants and foliage, all the different animals that you can encounter in the game that are represented here in the race course. So yeah, really great race course, and a pretty decent game as well, that I just haven't finished yet. Mainly because of how hard it is, as I mentioned earlier. Especially some of the minecart levels, like, those are really difficult. So you've got some really precise tight jumps that you've got to do. And in general, it kind of feels like a really old school platformer. I mean, I haven't played that many of them, but I have played some of the, at least a little bit of some of the original Mario Bros. Games, like 1, 2, and 3. And I've played a little bit of the original Donkey Kong Country as well. And it definitely feels very old school, but it also feels sort of intentionally old school. And it's definitely a very difficult game that requires a lot of precision and a lot of patience. Definitely got a little bit frustrating in places, which I think is why I stopped playing it, but it's a lot of fun, and this track has certainly reminded me of that, so I think I'll probably go back to it at some point, probably quite soon. Finish off the final few levels, or final world, or however much I had left with that game. Yeah, very fun game, and a very good racetrack that represents it. Even my second or third favourite in this game. I mean, there aren't that many really good ones in this game, so maybe it's second favourite, unless there's one I'm forgetting. My favourite one's definitely Borro's Gold Mine. Always has been, and always will be, but I think this is a very close second. Especially with how dramatic the music is, how many different twists and turns there are, and because I do generally quite like Donkey Kong Country Returns, even if I did stop playing it because it got frustrating, I still had a lot of fun with it. So that definitely contributes to me liking this one. But even before I played that game, I did quite like this course, because it's just got a really good aesthetic, great music, it's a lot of fun to drive around in general. Especially with multiple players, so this one can get quite chaotic. Which is one of the things I do quite like about Mario Kart, like it just gets really chaotic, you don't know quite what's going on, but you're still having a really good time. That's definitely when Mario Kart's at its best. And this race course can provide that quite often. And so, yeah, in general, it's just a really fun one. Okay, so that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.